He's going to tell us about his good life here in Chiang Mai.
Thanks, Travis. Hey, what's up, everyone? I'm Johnny, Johnny FD. Just curious, who here is actually part of Remote Year? Can you guys raise your hands? Very, very cool. Thank you guys for organizing this, and welcome to Chiang Mai. So this talk is actually about your good life, not mine. And if you get nothing else from this, I want you to take away that don't let anyone else tell you what your good life should be. Because every single person here has a different definition of what makes them happy and what their good life is. And even you, it'll change. For me, it's changed year by year. What I considered an amazing life a few years ago, I would not want to do again today. But my life today, maybe I won't want to do this a few years from now. So everyone's going to be in a different stage of what makes them happy and what a good life to them is. Don't let anyone take that away from you. Because there's always going to be someone saying, like, that's not a good life. Or you shouldn't be doing that, you should be doing this, you should be thinking about this. You're working too much, you're not making enough money, or too little, whatever it is. There's always going to be someone bitching about why you're not living a good life. Ironically, I actually wrote a book. It's on Amazon, you can look it up. It's called 12 Weeks in Thailand, The Good Life on the Cheap. So when you asked me to do a talk on the good life, I was like, yeah, I got that. So if we can go to the next slide. I just want to go over kind of quickly what my life has been. I started my 4-hour work week remote life here in Thailand in 2008. I sold all my stuff, came here, pretty much, I had like a couple $1,000s saved up from selling my car and selling all my stuff, but I didn't have any money, I didn't have any income or anything. But I had no responsibilities. And to me, that was a good life. That was an amazing life. I got to pursue my first passion that I probably ever had, which is scuba diving. I grew up in San Francisco, and while everyone else was into cars or tech or playing basketball, I never liked any of that stuff. And I really felt kind of alone. I didn't have these same hobbies everyone else liked. But when I found scuba diving, I thought, wow, finally there's something that just ignites my soul. This is something I've been wishing I can do my whole life. And no one ever told me I could do it. I've seen it in Discovery Channel, I've seen it on Nat Geo, but I never thought I could be underwater and go scuba diving. And I'm sure a lot of you guys here, you didn't think you guys can travel and work remotely all year. A lot of your friends back home probably say the same. It's like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this crazy trip? You should work on your career, you should buy a house, you should have a family, have kids, whatever it is. So during these first couple of years, I made either $0 to $600 a month. And it was just enough to continue living the good life on the cheap here in Thailand. I would work at different dive shops, different dive resorts for 6 months at a time, either in exchange for just accommodation, maybe some food, or for like 20,000 baht, which was just enough to get a really basic bungalow, eat Thai food every day. But I was so happy. I don't want to do that again, but I was so happy during that time. So if anyone feels like that is the good life to them, go for it. Fuck everyone else. I did the same thing with Muay Thai as well. I think when I got tired, of scuba diving all the time, I think I worked on maybe 7 different islands around Thailand, in Borneo, over the Caribbeans, and it stopped being the good life. I think that's takeaway number 2 is once it stops being the good life for you, don't feel like you are trapped. There were so many kind of older gentlemen that worked at dive shops that were just jaded. They were just, they've been doing it for 20 years, but they had no other options. They either couldn't find another job, they couldn't go back to England or wherever cold place they're from. Maybe they married a Thai girl and knocked her up. They don't have any skills or online skills, so they're like, well, I gotta keep being a dive instructor. But they're unhappy. That's no longer a good life. So as soon as your good life stops, or you stop enjoying that, just move on. No hard feelings. it doesn't mean those last 3 years was a waste or a bad idea. It just means it's time to move on. Like this life. So, freedom, time, no money, great life, right? But if you really want to step it up, eventually you're going to have the freedom of money as well. Because without having some money, the good life is a little bit hard to live when you're worried about bills or debt or being able to just pay $2,000 a month to be able to travel. So, is everyone here? Has everyone here heard of the Maslow's hierarchy of needs? Right. So on the very bottom, we have kind of like the basic physiological needs, right? You need shelter, you need kind of just food. Actually, maybe before shelter, you just need like food. I think you need a place to, use the bathroom. You need to be able to breathe. And without that, nothing else matters. I don't care how much money you have in the bank. If you don't know where your next breath of air is coming from, none of that matters. And I got to witness a lot of this firsthand by scuba diving. Sometimes you run out of airbags and you're like, oh crap. And you're not thinking about anyone else, anything else. You're just thinking, we're gonna get the next breath of air from. And unfortunately, that's kind of the way people feel where they're making $0 to $600 a month. And then that range where there's no income coming in. You're always kind of just worried about that next breath. You're like, I feel like I'm choking because I can't support myself. My money's just going away. I can't even stay in Thailand where it's cheap. So I highly, highly recommend you guys get to that point. For me, the way I did it was I wrote a Kindle book. Everyone here buys stuff on Amazon, I'm sure. It's very easy to publish a Kindle book. Literally every single person here has an amazing story. You've all traveled. Most of you guys are working remotely. A lot of you have your own online businesses. You've done a lot of cool stuff. Every single person can write a book. And it's pretty easy to make a couple $100 a month from a book. It's not gonna make you rich, but you can continue living this good life for cheap. In Chiang Mai, you can get by for $600 a month. And I know that because I did it for 2 years. But then the next step is the security needs. This is when you want to feel like you have some savings. If something goes wrong, you can take care of it. Let's say you need to go to the hospital or something, or something comes up, your laptop breaks. I wasn't at that point. I was making a couple $100 a month for my Kindle book, and then I fell through a wooden deck. I couldn't afford to go to the hospital, so I just tried to patch it myself. My laptop broke, and I couldn't afford a new one. And I was very stressed. So I knew I had to get to that next level. So for me to get to the $1,000 plus, I thought, okay, I have to start a real business. So I got into e-commerce. So I found this method called drop shipping, where you don't have to physically hold any of the inventory. You just create an online store, they ship it out for you. And that got me to between $1,000 to $3,000 a month. And then I was very happy. And to be honest, I think at that point it wasn't just like twice as happy. I felt 100 times more secure because I had money in the bank for the first time in a long time. But it wasn't really enough for me to feel like I can take care of anyone but myself. Even in a cheap place like Chiang Mai, it just isn't enough to ever have a family or to even really have a stable relationship. So when I met my girlfriend at the time, and I wanted to do nice things, I wanted to go to nice dinners. I didn't want to just eat 35 baht Thai food anymore. I didn't want to stay in the cheapest, shack I could find for 3,200 baht a month, which is where I was staying. I wanted to be able to upgrade and have a better life. So I was like, well, what can I do? So I had to scale that business. I think at that time, I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was, it's like I either built a second store or I started a Udemy course where you can teach. Udemy is an online platform, you guys can teach a skill. So I got that to about, let's say, $4,000 or $5,000 a month. And then I was like, this is amazing. I have some money where I can save. I have money where I can take my girlfriend on a nice date, or buy her presents, or buy her flowers every week if I wanted to. I wasn't stressed about this anymore. And to be honest, I think that was probably, in terms of just happiness, that was where I was kind of happiest. That right in the middle. You don't need anything else. As long as you're kind of at that point, you can live a good life. You could just end this talk. But I think as kind of entrepreneurs, and maybe as humans, we always kind of want to move to that next level. And that's when the steam comes in, confidence, a little bit ego. And I was like, I need to make more money. So I gave myself a challenge. I knew that at my lowest point, I was down to $200 in my bank account while living in Chiang Mai. And I couldn't afford to fly home. This is when I couldn't afford to fix my laptop. I couldn't afford to go to the hospital to fix my leg. And it's like, I need to have a buffer. And I had this random goal. I was like, I wonder how much a million Thai baht is. Anyone know? Good guess? Math? Anyone?
80 bucks.
80 bucks.
We just got here. I'm not sure.
It's about $30,000. I think it's a little bit less
30,000.
now. 28. Now it's 28. It used, I think when I did it, it was, I think it was 32 or something, but it fluctuates. You guys are having a good time. And I thought, if I can have $30,000 in the bank account, a Thai million baht, I can live in Thailand for a long time and not have to worry about anything, not have to work. And to me, that felt like retiring. It felt like that buffer. I know if all else goes wrong, people stop buying my Kindle books, people stop buying things from my online store, I'm still okay. I have a few years to figure it out. And that was like my next challenge. I actually wrote a blog post, and it's in my second book, Life Changes Quick, called the Gold Watch Challenge. When I went from having less than $1,000 to $30,000 in the bank. And it felt so fucking good. And it's not about the money. It's about the security and knowing that you don't ever have to worry again. You don't have to worry about where your next meal is going to come from, or be able to go to the hospital if you need to, or fly home for an emergency or something like that. So if you guys are spending more money than you're bringing in, or you're doing what most Americans do and spend every time the paycheck comes in and increase your habits, stop doing that. Get yourself a buffer. The last two categories, it's one of those things where the higher and higher you go up, the more I guess you can help other people besides just yourself. Don't worry, I'm not the Transcendence $1 million a year mark yet, but maybe next year, right? But I'm very happy to say that as of, I think, about a year and a half ago, I'm at the $10,000 a month mark, which to me was thank you. And to me, it was a huge deal because I went from living on, I literally wrote the book called The Good Life on the Cheap. And if you read the book, I teach you how to save 35 baht on drinking water. So to me, it was a really, really big deal. But why it's a bigger deal is because it allows you to start helping other people. And I didn't even really realize I wanted that until this year when I retired my mom. And I told her, I said, Mom, I don't want you working as a waitress anymore because she was having foot problems. I said, whatever you're making now, she was only working part-time, so it wasn't that much. I said, let me just pay for it. And I think, to me, that is the real good life now, is being able to help more people than just myself. So, wherever you guys are on this ladder, you can enjoy the good life. You can enjoy the good life at $600 a month. You can enjoy the good life at 1,000, 3,000, 5,000, 10,000, and you can enjoy the good life at $1 million. But you don't need to jump that far to start enjoying the good life. You can enjoy the good life right now. I'll answer questions at the end, if you want. Go to the next slide. So it's not just about money, it's not just about freedom of time. I think it's a balance. I think the reason why I was happiest when I was making around $3,000 a month is because I was also in the best shape of my life. Not anymore, but I'm working back towards that. That's my goal now for 2017. Traveling around Europe for 4 months, drinking beer and eating pretzels didn't really help. But now I know that part of my life is not perfect. It's not even not perfect. I'm not 100% happy in that part, which means that part needs to be rebalanced. That doesn't mean I'm not going to enjoy my life now, because I have great relationships, I have good friendships, my health is good, I'm doing a lot of cool stuff I enjoy doing. So I just wanted to leave you guys with knowing it's not just about the money, but the money is a huge vehicle to get you there. While you get there, don't sacrifice your health, don't sacrifice your relationships, don't sacrifice, even your hobbies. Just like in the last talk, make time for yourself to rest, to enjoy life, so you can enjoy that good life. Oops, let me go back. So, that's really about it. I'm pretty transparent on my blog with everything I do, even things I'm working on now or I'm failing at. It's johnnyfd.com. Every month on the 1st, I publish all my income reports. I do screenshots. So if you guys are curious about all the random projects I do, it's all on there. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
First, give it up for Johnny. Yeah, man. I'm trying to become a tie-back millionaire too. It's a way tighter goal than an actual millionaire. Maybe I can get there. Also, we can totally relate to the 4 months in Europe eating pretzels and drinking beer. That's something we all, at least the remote year crew, we all struggle with that. Questions? Yeah, we had one over here earlier.
Yeah, so I was wondering, it seemed like when you started to dive, it was like breaking out of this cycle of getting more and more and more. And like, I still followed you until this third step of love and relationship, and you need this kind of money. But isn't like the striving for more, and then isn't it like getting back into this cycle again?
So great question. The question is, he really liked the idea of kind of dropping everything, being minimalistic, pursuing my hobbies is diving, and then just making enough money to kind of get by and enjoy myself. Why pursue more and kind of almost get back to maybe where I was in my old life in California, where nothing was enough. I don't really know what it was, to be honest. I think part of it had to do with my relationship at the time ending, and I was kind of like, I don't know what else to do. I was missing that part of my life, and I knew I just needed some time. I needed, a year off. It was a really bad breakup, and I probably should have focused on, on my health part of it and just getting in shape. But at that time, I also, ironically, like 2 days before we broke up, I tore a calf muscle and I'm on crutches, so I couldn't do that either. So all I had was my laptop. Just sit there and work. So I think that's when I really started growing my business from $5,000 or $7,000 a month to, I think last month was about $24,000, and it's been averaging that ever since. And as I said before, I didn't really know why I wanted to get to that point, but now that I'm there and I'm able to give back not only to my mom but to people I love, to some charities and things like that, I realize that doesn't make me happy. I do like being able to do that.
It feels like if you're not moving forward, you're not staying still, you're going backwards. See, always have to be moving forward. Otherwise, you're not still, you're backwards.
Great point. So she said, is it true that if you're not moving forward, that you're moving backwards? I definitely think that if you're not moving forward, you definitely are moving backwards, but it doesn't necessarily mean you always have to move forward, because it's tiring. It's fucking exhausting sometimes. Sometimes you just need to pause it and take a break. So for me, what I do is I have two work modes. One is work mode, where I'm growing something new. I'm growing a new business. My blog, if you guys check it out, it's all about adding streams of passive income. So I do little experiments. For the next 3 months, I'll create another course on Udemy. For the next 2 months, I'll create another ebook on Kindle. For the next 2 months, I'll create another dropshipping store, whatever it is. When I'll go into what I call maintenance mode. Right? Don't really work that hard. I kind of just pause everything, let everything kind of run. And absolutely, when I'm not growing them, they start slipping. The nice thing about having a semi-automated online business, especially if it's kind of passive income, is it doesn't just dry up overnight, even though we feel like it might. In reality, it kind of just slowly dries up over the months if you just don't look at it. So as long as you kind of just, passively look at it once in a while, and then actively work on it once you're back into growth mode, in general, it's fine.
Can we give it up for Johnny one more time, guys? Thank you so much, man. Super insightful. Great to meet you. Yeah, he'll be here, so if you guys got more questions for me, you can surely find him. All right, next thing.